in memory of soldiers of the 29th Separate Novosibirsk Special Ski Troop Brigade. The Russian snowdrifts came alive. The Siberian regiments moved along, well-equipped, armed and able, patient and resourceful, expert shooters and skiers, ready to die for their motherland. The Snow Phantoms.
Granny Nera, what do we do if Germans kill Daddy? Granny Nera, let me go to war. I will go and help Daddy.
Your daddy, Leonka, is an able and courageous man. He will definitely come home. You and I shall pray, have faith, and wait for the victory. If you believe in victory, it will surely come. Victory is like this cloth, Leonka. It is composed of lots of little threads. A thread, next thread. Soldier's lot is to fight. Women's lot is to grow bread. Let us believe in victory. It will definitely come.
The Great Patriotic War. Bloody, destructive. On June 22, 1941, Nazi Germany troops had crossed the border into the USSR. Axis powers, Hitler's Germany, Romania, Italy, Slovakia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Japan, Finland, and Hungary had joined their forces. The Nazis were counting on Blitzkrieg, or the Lightning War. They had plans to celebrate their victory in a few months. The Soviet soldiers had put up some unthinkable resistance. In the fall of 1942, separate special ski troop brigades had been formed in the Urals. They were the 30th Omsk Brigade, the 29th Novosibirsk Brigade, the 28th Altai Brigade. Siberians have volunteered in large numbers, not just Russians, Ukrainians, Tatars, Uzbeks, Bashkirs. Representatives of many ethnicities of the Soviet Union went to fight Nazis. Why ski troops? The fact is that cars are stuck in the deep snow. The same happens to the infantry units in massive snowdrifts. However, skiers can quickly move through the forest and on the field. They're ready for the trials of frost and endless raids, ready to penetrate a breach in the enemy defense lines. They could approach the enemy unnoticed like phantoms. That was the reason Nazis called them Snow Phantoms. Germans used their elite forces to fight Snow Phantoms, used their air force, artillery and tanks. They feared them and hated them.
We lived in the village of Abrashino, Ordinsky district, Novosibirsk region. My father worked in a forestry project as a machine operator. He was 28 at that time. He had been recruited in September in 1942. My mother used to say that every man in the village was recruited.
They were marching on in a strict formation, led by a female commander. When we saw them, we could feel right away these are real soldiers, our defenders. Lenka was so proud for our soldiers. Here they are, marching on, our defenders, in long greatcoats and boots, champion fighters no less. As soon as they enter fighting, the war is done with. Young soldier came to our house. We have been told to room and board him. He was too young to shave, and he wore a simple countenance.
Come on in, Alyosha dear. Have dinner. The food is still hot. Eat.
No, thank you. I would like to sleep.
You want to sleep, dear. Too tired. You should eat, though.
Brother, can you find me a log? Our commander is ordered to concoct a grenade dummy.
Is she stern?
Satan-like.
Is that so, dear?
With rookies like us, she has to be.
Here's the log.
See? Look at that grenade dummy. Looks good, right? I can sleep now.
Daddy! 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 Daddy-o! Daddy-o!
Steady. I said steady. Hold on. Stand up. Harder. Here you are. Come on. More precise and even more precise. Hit it. Keep the formation. Why are you holding it as if it's a goal? It is going to explode now. Drop it. Crawl. Who crawls like that? Lower. Lower your butt to the ground.
They dug long, deep trenches. They covered them with foliage and straw. The skiers learned to slide on skis with weapons ready and practiced skiing through these trenches. And then they dragged machine guns and ammunition on sleds made of skis. In November, in addition to daily marches and fire weapon training, ski trips through fields, forests, and ravines had been added as well. Marshal Georgy Zhukov declared that the army is an instrument of war. It exists to fight the enemies of the motherland, and it must be prepared for this fight. Otherwise, we shall have no choice but to finish training in the course of the battle. 2,986 fighters, some very young men, and some in their 30s and 40s. Lieutenant Colonel Peter Mazhaika has been called to command the brigade. An experienced military commander, he had been transferred from commanding a ski troop brigade on the Korean front. On January 15, 1943, the soldiers arrived at the Barbinsk station. There were 3 long and heavy freight trains reserved for 3 ski troop battalions. A train with the Red Army soldiers is leaving to defend the motherland from the Barbinsk platform. Nobody knew where they were going. Some assumed it was Stalingrad. There have been some heavy fighting. The Don River Army Group keeps pushing forward to surround the large group of enemy units. In the months, an army group will be transferred to the central area, and the name will be changed accordingly. It will become the Central Army Group. The 29th Separate Ski Troop Brigade will be a part of that army
take
group.
some food with you. Eat on the way.
Thank you, Mother. The news of our victories reached Siberia. They were inspiring and encouraging. Siberian skiers were sent west to the front line. On February 9, 1943, the soldiers unloaded at the Yefremov station. They became a part of Lieutenant General Kryukov's 2nd Guard Cavalry Corps. The soldiers moved out to the front line on skis. Altai and Omsk brigades alongside the Novosibirsk brigade. In short, all Siberians. It took a long time for them to get there, mostly moving at night, through deep tank ruts, roadsides, ravines. Endured winds, snow, deep snow drifts, and muddy thaw with pouring rain. It was much more than just marching forward. One of the fighters would write in his diary, but some kind of superhuman long-range maneuver of all-powerful army throughout Russia. However, there was no time to rest. After almost 500 kilometers march, the Siberian skiers approached their enemy. On March 7, 1943, the soldiers of the 3rd Battalion of the 29th Brigade approached the Ukrainian village of Ivot. On March 10 at 7 a.m., the Germans pulled up the tanks, artillery, and the Air Force all the way closer to the village. They were getting ready. Comrade Commander, Germans in ghillie suits were noticed coming in from the side of the river. Sound alarm. Yes, sir. Gather the submachine gun fighters, send them to me. Get away. Go to the edge of the village. Hide in the cellars. Machine gun to the left flank. Where are they? 3 fighters.
Partisanen, hier sind sie ja! Tötet sie alle! Na, Kinderpartisanen! Los, Knallder! Kinderpartisanen müssen sterben!
The battle for Ivot continued for 5 hours. 200 soldiers of the Ski Troop Battalion were killed. 120 got captured by the Germans. The Nazis did not spare the local residents as well. They were entering the houses and shooting everybody in sight, men, women, and children. In the collective farm stables, 50 Ivot citizens were burned alive.
My mother received 3 of such death notifications. It said that her husband, the Red Army soldier, Fyodor Timofeyevich Mukasev was missing in action at the front line on the 10th of March 1943. We didn't believe it. We were waiting for my father for 20 years. My mother never married. Then we decided to find out where he was buried. It was confirmed that on the 10th of March in 1943, he was missing in action near Ivat village in Ukraine.
The General Krukov Mounted Rifleman Group played an important role in the spring and winter offensive of the Central Army Group. Cavalrymen and skiers had tied in 4 enemy divisions. As a result, in the end, the German offensive operation, the Citadel, was stopped. The Red Army went on the offensive and seized the strategic initiative, which from then on lasted until the very end of the Great Patriotic War.
All these areas were completely occupied by the Germans. They abused us, raped us, and did whatever they wanted to us. Many were forcefully taken to Germany. People would always say, "Thanks to the Siberian skiers, thank you."
The Great Patriotic War goes further and further into history. Fewer and fewer living witnesses of those terrible years remain. And most important thing we have to do is to preserve its memory. Unfortunately, there is a forgotten 29th Brigade, unjustifiably forgotten. No one knows about it. Even us historians do not know about it. Practically no one in the Novosibirsk region knew that there was such brigade. We must pay tribute to these young men. They died on foreign land, and bodies of many of them have not been recovered. Many of those heroes still don't even have graves where their grandchildren and great-grandchildren could come and bring flowers. We pay tribute to the dead, and we lead our children by our example. Without a doubt, ski troopers triumphed through history. Just 500-kilometer march was a feat for heroes. They were not ninjas or Rambos. They were simple Russian men, yesterday's students, school children, farmers, workers and clerks. They broke the backbone of the German military machine. That is their main accomplishment.
There is only one photo that survived, which we used to restore the portrait, and that is it. Valentina Fedorovna, Ivan Fedorovich, Valentina Fedorovna, you know, we have visited the battlegrounds of your fathers. We saw the villages they fought for, met the people they had protecting. And you know that our skiers were generally called saviors. It was such a surprise to us. We brought earth from the battlefields of the 29th Brigade. Well, for you and your family as well. Keep it.
The Victory Banner. Millions of lives of Soviet soldiers are interwoven into it. It is made of their blood and tears, a sacred canvas, symbol of victory, the symbol of our pride and our honor.
Descendants of the 29th Novosibirsk Separate Ski Troop Brigade fighters arrived at the Lenin Square with portraits of their heroes.
After 77 years, the fellow soldiers are standing together. Fedot Mukasev, Fyodor Minchenko, Matvey Uskov. Their children and grandchildren carry their portraits. For them, the war is not a distant history. It is a living memory.
непроглядной тьмы. Мы из стихов сгоревших, из невысоких изб, песенного всесилья. Мы из бессмертия, мы из плоти твоей, Россия. Мы от свинцовых роск падали снег с разбега, но поднимались прост, звонкие, как победа, как продолжение дня. Шли тяжело и мощно, можно убить меня, нас убить невозможно.